Hello, welcome back to the Harmony Inspired Health podcast. Today's guest is Sandra Lena Silverman, a passionate advocate for beauty, wellness, and the art of aging vibrantly. Known to her friends as Sandy, she lives a bold journey through both the conventional and unconventional sides of youth and wellness, from holistic health to surgical makeovers. And now she's sharing the wisdom she's gathered along the way. Sandy is the author of the new book, From Bullshit to Botox, A Rebel's Guide to Self-Love and Eternal Youth, where she tells it like it is. But today we're diving into the valuable lessons behind the glow, habits, mindsets, and truth about health, vitality, and
Thank you so
self-love.
much for having
Welcome
me.
to the
Thank
podcast,
you.
Sandy. You're so welcome. I'm just jumping
Perfect.
straight into Sandy, so you're my friend now. We're gonna have fun. Love it. So, what inspired you to write the book
Thank
Bullshit
you.
to
So
Botox? I love that
I
title, by the
started
way.
this journey in my late 20s. And because I have done so many procedures and so many beauty treatments and reverse aging and biohacking and that sort of thing, I decided to write the book because so many people would ask me questions, or like friends of friends, just because I had done so much over the years. So I decided to write the book just to empower women, to allow them to think that it's okay to do as many procedures as you want, as long as you're doing it for yourself and it makes you feel better about yourself, and not do it for the wrong reasons. It's pretty much why I wrote the book.
So, let's start with, what does feeling young mean to you? And has this definition changed
I
over
feel younger
time?
now, honestly, than I felt in my 20s. And it's taken me a long time to figure out the balance that works for me in terms of nutrition and my workout routine and the lymphatic work that I do and the supplements that I take. I feel so much more energetic now than I did in my 20s. But that's taken me a long time. Like, there were years I felt lethargic. There were years I felt, bad about myself, tired, just not realizing that when you don't have the proper balance, it's easy to feel tired throughout the day. Like, I never take naps. There have been years that I've wanted to take a nap during the day, that sort of thing, that I don't feel the need now. I have so much energy, but that's taken a long time for me to figure out what worked for my body.
I think that's so true. Like, as you get older, you start to cultivate more body awareness and mindful awareness about yourself and how you operate. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, we look at our individual constitution, so our doshas. And when we start to understand how they work and play out in our lives, then we can really quickly bring ourselves back into balance. But we also understand what takes us out of balance. And so I do think there comes a point, where I know we've tried all of the different diets, all of the different procedures, all of the things, until we find what actually works with us. And that's really about cultivating that deeper sense of self and self-awareness, which, on this sort of journey of aging, we all go through. And so I'm really interested in this conversation, because this is a holistic health podcast. And obviously we talk about holistic health, but my mission is to bridge the gap between Eastern and Western medicine. And I do have a Western medicine background, clinical medical background as well. And so I do love to bring all conversations from all different people and facets of life, because as everyone journeys in their own step towards their higher self, it means incorporating different things for each individual, what's going to make them feel their best. And so you've tried everything from Botox to breath work. What are 3 daily habits that you swear by now for inside
Lymphatic
out
work is my
wellness?
number one. So I spent years looking puffy, not having the right energy, and the lymphatic work helps me so much because I retain a lot of water. So I do that 5 to 6 days a week, which has been a game changer for me. My workouts now are strictly weight training. I don't really do a lot of cardio. I mean, for cardio, I'll walk, but I don't run on the treadmill or do the elliptical. It's all weight training. And that has been a game changer as well, like changing my body and changing my nutrition in terms of adding more protein to my diet. So for years, I was probably eating maybe 50 grams, 60 grams of protein. And then I doubled that in the past year. And I've notice such big changes from my workouts because I wasn't, even though I was doing the weightlifting, I wasn't doing the diet part the way that I needed to. So I would say those would be the three things that are most important. And I feel way more balanced than I really ever have in the past.
So for the lymphatic drainage, are you doing a lymphatic drainage routine or do you have one of those vibration boards?
Manually.
How are you
So
managing
I
that
have a fascia
yourself at home?
blaster and I use the gua sha. So I know there are machines that people use and I think that it's great. I'm just doing it all manually because it's been working for me. And it's also reduced cellulite. So that's something that like women can do without trying these cellulite treatments like injections or the endermology or whatever it is that they're trying. This seems to work really well, incorporating all three, doing the lymphatic, doing the diet, adding the more protein, and the weightlifting. I don't have cellulite. And that's really hard, especially at my age, to not have. And it's gone. I mean, I've had it in the past.
Would
54.
you mind sharing your age with us? Just so we, wow, 54.
Thank you.
It's definitely working what you're doing. I'm on the other side of the screen and I'm like,
Thank you.
yep, she's doing her thing. Um, yeah, in Ayurveda, we talk about like this daily ritual of Abhyanga, self Abhyanga, which is a lymphatic drainage massage of the self. And it's like been known for, thousands and thousands of years to really support the longevity and the body and the central nervous system and sort of draining all the toxins and everything out. So I definitely vouch for the lymphatic drainage. It's really interesting that you also mentioned weight training. So I'm now 41 and I am also changing my
Yes.
training schedule. Like I was a cardio junkie, grew up in from the 90s, 2000, early 2000s, it was like go hard or go home, cardio, all of that. And it has been a real mental shift to try to get out of thinking I have to, go hard and do cardio every day to doing more weight training and walking. Like it's been a real shift, but I've noticed such a change in my energy levels, my body as well. And yeah, it is not the new way, it's the old way coming back, which I really love. Yeah, and yeah, definitely for the protein. Interestingly, out of the three habits, you didn't mention any surgical procedures or Botox or anything like that that's made you feel better. But I would love to speak more about that if you're open to share what sort of procedures you've had and why you had them, and did they make a difference in the way that you felt
So we can talk
internally
about,
as well as
well,
externally?
one thing that I really like that I think all women could benefit from, that's something really minor, is dermaplaning. So even if you don't want to go and spend the money on a facial, just the dermaplaning alone takes away the dead skin, something easy, doesn't hurt, and it takes away like a little peach fuzz on your face and it just makes you look more vibrant. So that's something super easy that women can do. Also, for listeners who really don't want to do Botox or you don't want to do the filler and but you still want a somewhat of a refresh, I like the microblading for the eyebrows. It's like a hybrid. It's like a microblade with an eyeshadowing. Also, if you don't want to do like lip filler, you can do a lip enhancement just with like it's permanent tattoo, but it looks very natural. And I have videos on my Instagram. So I used Instagram in the beginning before the book released as a point of reference for different procedures that I talk about or beauty treatments in the book. So the lip shading is on there, the eye enhancement, which is a liner that they put above in the lash line area, and also lashes. Whether you do the lashes with the serum or you do eyelash extensions, just those things alone that are pretty non-invasive can enhance and make anybody feel and look better because not everybody wants to do a surgical procedure. The procedures that I've done that I absolutely love, I did a facelift when I was 47. That has been a game changer for me in terms of I had a lot of sagging skin in the jowl area. Once I was in the mirror every day lifting and lifting and lifting my face, I thought, okay, it's time to do the facelift. And you can go down the filler and thread trap and to maintain but nothing works as well as cutting the skin. So I'm really happy that I did the facelift because now I can just do minor tweaks, a little bit of filler here, some Botox, maybe a thread once in a while, but not anything drastic. So I go once a month to my injector and we just talk about, okay, do I need a little bit here, a little bit there? Because I don't like to do so much at one time. And so that would probably be my favorite surgery. I've made some mistakes along the way as well. And one of the biggest mistakes was liposuction in my knee and stomach area. The stomach with the liposuction, you just have to be so careful because it sagged my skin so much to take out the amount of fat that I took out, which wasn't even a lot of fat. Because I did that, I had to do a mini tummy tuck, which I never had to do before, even after having kids. So that would probably be my biggest mistake. So the liposuction you have to be very careful with. And the knee area, I was a disaster. So to this day, I'm putting threads in my knee, putting filler in the knee area to make up for that mistake that I had made. But I would say definitely a facelift. If women could do it in their face, it's the best time because the doctor can really make you look as natural as possible at that age instead of waiting until you're older. And you would just need like a mini in your 40s.
So, what was there anything driving the need to sort of change your body externally? Was that an internal sort of drive, or was it just you weren't happy with your appearance, or what
It
sort of led you to
started in
these
my
decisions, I
20s,
guess?
and the person I was dating who I ended up marrying, the first month we were together, and at 26, I wasn't really thinking about much, just in terms of, he told me, "Oh, your body's soft. You should go to the gym." That's the first time in my life that I actually thought, wow, there's actually something wrong with me. And I wasn't really thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be with this person. It's a red flag because I'm 26. I just didn't care that much, I guess, consciously, but I think subconsciously that really bothered me. And that sent me on a path of, okay, now my boobs have to be bigger and I have to do body sculpting after my son was born because he treated me so bad during my pregnancy and I'd gained so much weight and he made me feel like I was fat even though I was pregnant. And after the pregnancy, because I'd gained 60 pounds, he one day said to me, I was going to New York to get my eyebrows done with my friend. And he looked at me, I had 40 pounds left to lose. And he's like, eyebrows? I wouldn't be worried about my eyebrows if I were you. I would just get to the gym. So then that started this whole body sculpting thing after the pregnancy. So I ended up losing more weight than when I'd started. So I went from originally 120 pounds up to 180. And then by the time I did this body sculpting and everything, I was down to 115 and my body looked better than ever. I realized over the years that the beginning journey was me trying to feel better about myself because the person that you love and you think that is your partner is picking on you. And wow, if that person's treating me like this, then there must be really something wrong. Over the years, I've stopped doing the procedures for those reasons and started doing procedures for myself. But that took a long time to really love myself because, to be honest with you, I didn't even really know what was going on. I'm like, why is this person like this? We're getting divorced. So I'm no longer with him, thank goodness. But it took a long time for me to start loving myself. And I talk about that in the book, and I'm actually
Yeah.
almost finished my second book. I'll be talking about that more, the marriage and how I felt in that book. I really didn't talk too much about it in this one. This one was more of a guide and, just a funny journey type of thing for women to read but it's also very informative.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm
Thank you.
really sorry that that was your journey. And it is, yeah, it does make it so hard, like when we're sort of not forced into trying to prove our worth and, yeah, I guess our worth, right? Through these sort of external validations. And by doing so, that means turning to cosmetic procedures or radical dieting or radical exercising, whatever it might be for anyone else. And as you mentioned, it is like an inside job, like as in with our mental health. And I know that you say mental health is the Wi Fi of the body. So, what are some of your favorite, maybe even unconventional ways to reset mentally? Like, how did you do that? How did you transform? So, you started off sort of being ridiculed by your partner, which sort of made you turn to sort of these more, drastic measures of having to have surgery and whatnot, and still being ridiculed to now being published author, being full of self worth and self love, and What
We
were
went
those
through 4
mindset shifts for you?
separations. The 3rd separation, I started working with a life coach, and he's actually in my book. His name is Peter, and he helped me. We worked together for a year. He helped me so much realize what was going on, how I was being treated, why I allowed it, going back into childhood issues. And that was really the beginning of me learning how to love myself. My ex and I ended up getting back together, and we stayed together for a year, and we separated this past July. And really, once we separated for the 4th time, I decided this is it. Like, I'm filing for a divorce. I'm blocking this person. I have to think more of myself this time to not get back together. But it was really because of Peter that helped a lot, really helped me realize, like, why am I doing this? In fact, we changed his name in my phone to Pain. So he said every time he calls, you just see the word pain, which was actually really funny, but it was a reminder of, the pain that I had endured. To be honest with you, it wasn't until recently that I realized how badly I was treated and how tortured, emotionally tortured I was. I just came back from a trip to Europe, and I was with a girlfriend, but she had gone on a few dates while we were there, and I stayed by myself for a couple of days. And during that time, I realized on this trip, because I was out of Miami, I was by myself, I wasn't distracted. Because even after this last separation, I started dating right away, and just distracting myself. This trip was really, I got so much clarity from this trip, and I realized, wow, I went through so much, and I still have a lot more healing to do, but I really went through so much emotional trauma, because at one point after blocking my ex, I fell and broke my wrist and my tailbone, and he came to the hospital. So I unblocked him, and I thought, okay, well, I'm dating people. This is fine. We can be friends. No, we cannot be friends. He put me through so much. And why should I allow a friendship with this person when he disrespected me on so many different levels? Like, I will never give this person the friendship that I thought that I was able to give him, because when I see him, when I talk to him, I get triggered. I My nervous system was a wreck for years, and I realized, like, the anxiety started coming back again because I allowed him back in my life again. And after this trip, I decided no more. There's just no more. I'm not going to have that kind of anxiety. And I shouldn't have to do that. My kids are grown. Really, we don't need to communicate unless it's for business.
I'm so happy that you, yeah, made that decision. And it always starts with that radical self awareness. And, it might have taken a little while to be like, no, this person's toxic for
Exactly.
my mental health, my physical health, and they just suck the energy out of me. And what is energy? Like the life force energy, we call it prana. If we've got no prana, we're just, doesn't matter if we're technically alive, we're dead on the inside type thing. We're just zapped of our essence and who we really are. And we can't find our way back to self if we've got constantly being surrounded by toxicity from other people sort of putting us down and leaving these imprints in our mind, which we call samskaras, that just keep reacting and replaying and make us constantly seek that external validation. So I love that you've done this huge big switch, it seems, and just really empowering yourself to feel how you want to feel and be how you want to be and look how you want to look. How do you, I guess, and I don't know if you do or not, jump on, like, we're in a world of TikTok and Instagram wellness trends, and there's so many fads that come and go, come and go. So how do you personally filter the noise and stay aligned with what really
I don't
works
really pay
for you?
attention to the different diets and the different detox fads that you're talking about. I just stick to what has worked for me. I don't drink alcohol. There was a time when I was writing the book, I wasn't drinking. I think it was like 3 or 4 years I hadn't had a drink, and then once we separated, I started drinking again and, having fun and partying, and then I quickly realized, okay, these are the reasons why I stopped. My skin doesn't look as good. So stopped drinking again recently. So I just stick to what works for me. Like, I don't drink alcohol. I'll eat candy, sugar here and there. I drink a lot of hot tea. I drink water, iced tea, that sort of thing. I don't smoke. I don't really do anything that harmful. I mean, the worst thing that I do is probably drink it with Coke Zero, like a small can, because I can't be 100% perfect. And I'll have like some peanut M&Ms, but I don't really do a lot of harmful things to my body to begin with. And, like I said, I do a lot of the working out, the lymphatic work, with the drainage. Like I don't do a lot of treatments in terms of detoxing. There are a lot of places that have, you know, different treatments that you can do. I'm doing most of it myself, I think.
Are there any wellness trends or products that you thought was like totally like bull crap until you did try it and vice
Yeah.
versa? Maybe you were thinking it was
Pretty
great
much
and then it
stick
was like,
to
no,
I
this is a
take
scam.
a lot of supplements and peptides and NADs and vitamin injections because I'm a vegetarian. So every other day I inject a Myers cocktail, which is vitamin C, vitamin Bs. So those things work for me, magnesium, glutathione. People think I'm crazy doing this injection every other day because they're like, just get it from food. But I'm a vegetarian. I can't go back to eating meat. So those work for me. Everything that I take works for what I need and what my body needs. I've done like some treatments for the cellulite, what is it called? The one that freezes the fat. I'm having a yeah, yeah, that I've tried all
Oh
those
yeah, fat
different things.
freezing. Yeah.
I don't feel like
Yeah.
anything works. Yeah,
Okay. Good to know. And you mentioned you're vegetarian, so what have you included in your diet to increase your protein uptake? Because we know, like, especially for women that go from the perimenopausal phase to the menopausal phase, like, protein is really, really important for our hormonal shifts, for our muscles, for bone health, all of the things. And it can be, people perceive it to be somewhat hard in a vegetarian diet. So can you share with us
it's really
your
hard.
tricks on how to increase your
In the
protein
morning
through
when I
vegetarian?
get to the gym, my trainer it's her gym. So she has the refrigerator with a protein shake that has 40 grams of protein. It's called MRE. And I drink that. And then she gets these donuts delivered once a week that are made from egg white. So there are two donuts that are 30 grams. So right there, 70 grams before I even leave the gym. And I'm there for 2 hours. So I consume 70 grams before I leave. And then after at 11, I'll eat like another meal, which is three whole eggs. And usually I just eat like, because I need some carbs. So I'll eat like breakfast potatoes or, with the eggs. So that's 100 grams. And then whatever else I eat throughout the day, whether, because do eat a lot of vegetables, I eat a lot of salad. I'm good. So whatever I have the rest of the day is just a bonus. So I might have more eggs. I might have beans. I might have chickpeas, a salad with chickpeas and, something healthy the rest of the day. I do really believe in counting calories. So I try to keep my calories around 1,200 per day. That's not always, I'm not always able to do that, but because I work out, that's fine. But I try to keep the calorie count as low as possible as, along with being healthy. So that's pretty much where I am every day.
So a good hack is to stack your protein at the start of the
Yes,
day so that you don't have to like worry
which I
about like
can't do.
making
So,
every
I mean, because I'm
meal
on the
full of
go
protein.
nonstop.
That's
So
sort of your,
this works for me.
yeah.
And I feel like it's pretty healthy for me. Like my body, I feel great and I'm able to build the muscle that I want. But like I said, I do inject vitamins. I also take the supplements that I need. And I pretty much check my blood work with my holistic doctor every 3 months. So we're constantly making changes to the supplements. So sometimes I might need something like selenium, but then the next time I may not need that supplement. I mean, I know a lot of people want to get all of their nutrients from
Yeah.
their food, and I wish I could do that. I just can't.
No, I think it's really important to have these like really open conversations, and you've been so open with us, which I really appreciate because, we a lot, I should say, compare ourselves with other people. And we can look at, go on your beautiful Instagram page and see how amazing you are and everything. And you are doing a lot to maintain that, inner and outer beauty as well. And so I think we also have to really walk our own path and what we feel aligned to in this journey. And there might be a lot of people listening thinking, there's no way that like I'm going to do any surgical procedures or inject myself or anything. Like I want to age gracefully and naturally. And that's amazing and wonderful for you. And then it's so beautiful that women like yourself can come out and share their stories and what you're doing as well. And I think for again, even for women who are like, I need to have my protein stores with the meat, and you're like, well, this is how I support my protein, and I still do strength training. It's so wonderful when us as women can share our stories to health, longevity, beauty, all of those tips. And we're not here to judge anyone else's journey. We're here to create our own. And that means taking advice or taking inspiration from different people depending on what aligns to ourselves. And I know you're very big on aligning to what's true for you as well. I would actually love now to switch it a bit and just ask you about, I know you practice breath work. I'd love to know what type of breath work and why you practice.
I haven't really tried the breath work as much. I've done it a few times, and it's worked. It's not something I practice all the time.
Yeah. And what about, do you do like any sort of mindfulness practices or
Tried
anything like that?
meditating. I'm not very good at it. Um, yeah, and walking,
The
that
gym's
helps
like your
me. I've
meditation.
tried. So I am at my house. So I actually moved out of my house, but I have a cold plunge and a infrared sauna. So I would do some meditating in the sauna after doing the cold plunge. It's hard for me to quiet my mind. I try.
Mm. But But
Mhm.
again, things like the cold therapy and
You
hot
do.
therapy, like you
You
have to
do.
be very present in that cold therapy. I actually just did it on the weekend, and you have to regulate your breath. Like
Yeah.
you
No, definitely.
unconsciously
Yeah.
doing breath work in the cold plunge. You have to be fully present in there. So again, everyone has their different way of coming to that present state and really working on their central nervous systems. Again,
And I've
it's
done
so
like the
nice to
sound baths.
highlight all of
That's
these
nice. I
differences
did that in
between
Sedona and I
modalities.
really like that.
Yeah, yeah, they're beautiful. And so I'd love to ask finally, like for women who are listening, who feel like they're losing their spark with age, what would you say to them today?
No, it's really hard. Actually, it's very easy to lose yourself. And I know as we get older, especially if you haven't really been working on yourself and trying to, with the working out and making yourself look younger. And then you wake up one day and you look in the mirror and you are just like, you don't even recognize yourself anymore. I just don't think it's ever really too late to start. And if you are that person where you're looking in the mirror and you're not happy, like you can start basically at any age. And I talk about that in the book. Like I give so many different examples of, different procedures that you can do, whether if you have a listener who doesn't want to do a surgery but wants to enhance or look better, there's so many different things that you can do, that I talk about. And I just don't think that's ever too late. I feel like it's hard. It really is hard. Like you wake up one day and you're like, who are you? Like, I don't remember looking like this in my 20s or 30s. And, in my 40s, I feel like my 40s were a complete disaster because I felt like that. I woke up in my 40s and I didn't even know like who I was, at one point. Because I had let myself go. I was focused on my kids and, in an unhappy marriage and just not paying attention. And then I just decided, pull myself back together. But, it's not easy, but you can do it. And when it's hard, I know at any age, really, but
Yeah.
for women in my age, especially, sometimes they just don't know where to begin. And I talk about that in the book. And, if people read it, they can start, just with a few things. Like if they don't want to just jump into filler, Botox, a facelift, because it's not for everyone. There are procedures that I talk about in beauty treatments where they can start, just with like minor enhancements to make themselves feel better. But, it really starts from the inside. Like if you're in an unhealthy relationship, you have to get out of it. If you have toxic friends around you, you have to eliminate them. And I did that at age 50. I eliminated friends that I had been friends with since college.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so true. It really does start with that inner health because that's, we radiate from the inner health. And when we can get our nutrition on point, and you mentioned like your three, biggest hacks is to eat protein and good nutrition, is to do lymphatic drainage, and is to lift weights. Like they were your top three
And that
priorities,
right
and
there
that's all
can
natural and that's
make
all
a
something we
big
really need to be
difference. And
doing.
then, you know, just little things like changing your hairstyle, changing the way that you dress, dressing more, younger, trendy, but not too young for your age. Just changing your style can also help you feel better and make you look younger. There's so many different things that you can do that really don't cost a lot of money because not everybody wants to pay for the procedures like I've done. And I understand that what I've done isn't for everyone. But, I don't regret. There are a few things that I did, like I said, that I made mistakes, but I don't regret my path because I've had so much experience and so many people had asked questions. I was able to write this book and help, other people and help them feel more empowered because so many people will do treatments or procedures and then they're embarrassed about them and they don't want to share. Or, I mean, I had some friends that I wanted anonymously to talk about procedures that they've done in my book, and they even anonymously wouldn't do it. So, because people get embarrassed. And I mean, but it's okay. You should do whatever makes you feel better about yourself, whether that's 50 procedures, if that's going to make you feel better, as long as you look natural and you're doing them for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think, yeah, huge difference doing them from the right reasons and doing them because someone else is telling
And
you
also,
that's
like
the way
with
you need to be.
women and their hormones, like it's really important to make sure that you check your hormones and really have that part like hormonal like balance because so many people don't realize that, oh, I've gained extra weight, more bottom heavy now, or I'm so tired, especially like going through menopause, and they don't check their hormones. That's super important in your 40s.
Yeah,
People, start earlier and
100%.
feel lethargic or they're gaining weight or holding on to weight. I know a lot of women have turned to like Ozempic and those types of injections. I'm not a fan of that. So for me, like calorie counting, doing it like the more natural way. Not everything I've done is natural, but I try, to do as much as possible.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I mean, Ozempic does sort of eat away at the muscle mass, which isn't ideal for women in that age grade from like perimenopause to menopausal phase either. So yeah, there's lots
Well, and
of
then you see
controversy
like
around that
their
one.
skin
But
sags, and
yeah,
especially women. I mean, if you have 100 pounds to lose, by all means, do what you need to do because your health is at risk. But for women that have 15, 20 pounds to lose, it's not that hard to walk or, count your calories, that sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for, yeah, just being really upfront and honest. It's a
Thank you.
different conversation that I've had on this podcast. And I think it's going to be, yeah, really, really great to bring to the audience just to hear from different people and what they're doing. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about your book, From Bullshit to Botox. I know it's a wonderful, bold, cheeky, and packed with real talk. Like we've been having real talk today. So, what inspired you? Like, have to write this book right
That
now. Like,
happened,
where did that
like I
come
said,
from?
during the third separation. I decided, I'm just going to write this book and
Yeah.
try to not think about what's going on. And that's really when I started. Unfortunately, after writing the outline and the introduction, I realized, okay, I'm not the best writer. I have all the information, but I need a co-writer. So that's when I met Erica Florentine. And at this point, my husband and I were back together and I met her, I think it was like October. And we actually finished the book within 6 months. So from the time I started with her until it was finished, it was about 6 months. All the experts were amazing in the book, and everybody was so helpful and gave so much of their knowledge and time, which was great. And it just all came together so beautifully. Then I realized, okay, I don't have a name for this book. So my friend, she just had a burst of energy one night at like 3 in the morning. And the next day I woke up with 13 titles and subtitles, which I thought, this is amazing. Like, how did this happen? Because the book is written, I don't have a title. So that's how we came up with From Bullshit to Botox. And then from there, it just went into editing, and I had a team of beta readers read it, which was so helpful because they had a different perspective. So before in the book, I hadn't talked about as much, like more like I had like a holistic approach, but not as many procedures or treatments that you could do that weren't expensive. So they had a different idea, which I thought was great. So everything that they told me, I incorporated it back into the book. So, for example, instead of somebody going to the spa and paying $300 for a facial, we use something called the Jesner peel, which is $14 on Amazon. So I just incorporated all these things in the book that are cost effective, where instead of going for facial, you could do this and, like that sort of thing. So that was really helpful. And then it just went from there. We pre-saled it October, and then the ebook just went crazy and became a bestseller within like a week, probably because of the name. People saw the name and they're like, okay, I'll download this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just super grateful for all the help, and I was able to build my Instagram following pretty quickly. Like it took a year to build it. And part of that was just from videoing a lot of the procedures that I talked about in the book. So people could use that as a point of reference. So they can read the book, and then if they want to see like, oh, I want to do some neck threads or that sort of thing, I did it. So it's on the Instagram as well. And so yeah, that's how the book came about.
Thank you. Well, that's so good. Congratulations. I'm actually writing a book at the moment. It's
You
in
know the
the editors
process.
as we speak.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
excited to
Yes.
know the process. It's a bit of a
Do you
process.
have
I'm
a name
only,
for
yeah,
yours?
got it to the editors for the first
Okay,
edit
good.
at the moment. I do. It is Ayurveda and the Alchemy of
Yeah, that's
Her. So it's all
amazing.
about Ayurveda, women's
Most
health.
people start their book with
Yeah,
a
to
name in
beautify
mind. So I'm
yourself.
probably one of the
I'm
few
very,
people that had no idea.
uh, no, well, actually, yeah, my book coach, she was, because it was just going to be called Alchemy of Her, but she's like, no, you need the SEO in the title, so I had to add the word Ayurveda or yeah. So a lot of times people, she says, write the book and then they
Yeah.
can
Oh,
come up
that's
with a
great.
really good name. But I already just had the book
That's
name, had it
amazing.
all in my head.
Congratulations.
So yeah, but yeah. Thank you. And thank you, yeah, so much once again for sharing everything. And if any of our listeners are really interested in learning more about Sandy's beauty hacks and tips and what she's been through and journeyed through, go and grab her book and check out her
At
Instagram account. What's your Instagram,
sandralenasilverman.com.
Sandy?
Or I'm not sorry, at Sandra Lena Silverman. And then I have a website, sandralenasilverman.com, to make it really easy. The book is sold on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So that's simple as well. And then if anybody forgets, they can just Google my name and everything comes up in Google. Thank you.
Amazing. And we'll have it down in the show notes as well. And yeah, thank you. And if any of our listeners are ready to dive deeper into their holistic journey, join my free Intro to Ayurveda for Health and Wellness Professionals Masterclass. You'll get an aligned foundation to support your mind, body, and purpose. So you can either find me on Instagram, Harmony Inspired Ayurveda, and DM me Intro to Ayurveda, or I will have a link to that masterclass in the show notes as well. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a 5-star review would be so, so helpful. And yes, screenshot it, tag myself, tag Sandy, and we will also be sharing. So thank you so much, everybody, once again for joining us on the Harmony Inspired Health Podcast.